Total Recall exploded onto screens in the summer of 1990. The film was eagerly anticipated as it was director Paul Verhoeven's first film since RoboCop, and this time he was teaming with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The film follows frustrated husband Doug Quaid, who for some reason has a burning desire to visit Mars, despite his wife's equal reluctance. After seeing a commercial for a company called Recall that can implant the memory of a holiday in a customer's brain, he decides to take the leap and pays them a visit despite the warnings from his wife and work colleague. After selecting the many different elements of his adventure, he sits in the chair and undergoes the procedure. But the next thing he knows, he is having a panic attack, as what seemed to be forgotten memories come back, leading him on an adventure to Mars to reclaim his former identity and save the planet. The question we find ourselves asking throughout the rest of the film: is this his memory implant that we're witnessing, or is it actually happening? Following the massive success of the 1987 film RoboCop, Dutch director Paul Verhoeven was approached by Arnie to make Total Recall his next project. Arnold had become aware of the rights to the Philip K. Dick book, We Can Remember It For You wholesale, after Dino De Laurentiis had put them on the market after going bust. Laurentiis had previously planned to make the film with Richard Dreyfuss and Patrick Swayze as possible leads. Arnold convinced production company Carolco to purchase the rights and produce the film as his next project. With a massive budget of $65 million, which was very risky for a film of this nature, they were banking on it following suit with RoboCop's previous success. The gamble paid off, and the film was a huge success, both critically and commercially. Global action superstar Arnold Schwarzenegger played the role of Doug Quaid. Arnold at this point had the freedom to choose his roles and shape his own career. At the time, his plan was to alternate between more family-orientated comedies and serious action roles. His previous movie to this was the Ivan Reitman-directed comedy Twins, starring alongside Danny DeVito. After Total Recall, he returned to work with Ivan Reitman again on Kindergarten Cop, before returning to action with Terminator 2 in 1991. Sharon Stone played Doug's wife Laurie. Sharon was cast after director Paul Verhoeven was very impressed with her audition, after initially being cautious, as she had had a previous reputation for being difficult to work with. This was a breakthrough role for Sharon, who went on to work with Verhoeven again in his next film, Basic Instinct, a massive success that put her on the Hollywood A-list. Sharon went on to have a successful career, but got somewhat typecast to the erotic thriller. Ronny Cox joined Paul Verhoeven again from his previous role on RoboCop. Ronny was used to playing everyman good guy roles, however was cast as the bad guy once more. Ronny is best known outside of these films for playing the role of Bogomil in the Beverly Hills Cop movies. Michael Ironside was cast as Cohagen's right-hand man Richter. Michael was well known for playing this kind of role. He'd started his career with David Cronenberg's cult horror Scanners.
All right, we're gonna do it the Scanner way. I'm gonna suck your brain dry.
Michael had various roles throughout his career in both film and television. Throughout his career, he became known for losing limbs. Michael returned to work with Verhoeven again in Starship Troopers, this time missing his legs. Actress Rachel Nicotin was cast as Melina. Rachel had a successful career in both film and television. Her first film role was in 1987's Critical Condition, starring Richard Pryor. Other memorable roles include Falling Down in 1993 and Con Air in 1997. Dutch director Paul Verhoeven was personally recruited by Schwarzenegger for this film after he was impressed with RoboCop. Paul's first American film was Flesh and Blood, starring Rutger Hauer. From there, he went on to direct the smash hit RoboCop. Paul had a reputation for over-the-top, ultra-realistic violence, something he always defended, stating that it would be an injustice to the nature of violence itself to depict it in any other fashion. Paul went on to be typecast in another genre, the erotic thriller, after his next two films, Basic Instinct and Showgirls. After the critical and commercial failure of Showgirls, he returned to sci-fi with Starship Troopers in 1997 and The Invisible Man reimagining Hollow Man in 2000. This film was one of the last made with almost 100% practical effects before Hollywood productions moved to computer-generated imagery. Paul once again employed Rob Bottin, whom he had worked with on RoboCop. Rob was one of the top artists in his field, his most memorable work being John Carpenter's The Thing and The Howling, as well as RoboCop. Rob and his team both won an Oscar and a BAFTA award for their work on this movie, as well as numerous other nominations. Jerry Goldsmith was brought on board to compose the score for the film. Jerry was well known for his work on many films prior to this one, such as Star Trek the Motion Picture, First Blood, Alien, The Omen, for which he won an Oscar, and Gremlins, amongst many others. Much of his work often involved large fanfares. However, for this film, he created a theme that ran throughout, with often quiet or subtle pieces that help the atmosphere, feel, and mystery of the picture. Following its success, a sequel was written using the premise of another Philip K. Dick story, The Minority Report. The script still contains Schwarzenegger's character of Douglas Quaid, this time as a detective investigating future crime that had been psychically predicted by the mutants of Mars featured in Total Recall. After production company Carolco collapsed, the script ended up being rewritten and made closer to the original story. The film was later directed by Steven Spielberg, with Tom Cruise as the lead, in 2002. In 1999, a low-budget television series was produced. Total Recall 2070 was a supposed sequel to the film. However, the production had a stronger feeling of Blade Runner than the Schwarzenegger film. 22 episodes were produced before the show was cancelled. 2012 saw the release of a remake starring Colin Farrell.
If I'm not me, then who the hell am I?
You don't have the most reliable of memories, do you?
The film was a critical and commercial failure.
And you try to copy it, someone tried to do a remake of it. How stupid is that? I mean, Jesus.
Total Recall remains a fan favourite and is also one of Arnold's favourite projects of his career. Its lasting appeal comes from its outstanding special effects, which whilst do feel dated in places, still hold the wow factor. It had an extremely clever construction. Even after repeat viewings, it's still not clear whether the events we witnessed were the memory implant or reality. This has remained an argument amongst fans for years, with each side presenting different points that supposedly prove that they are right. However, in a 2012 interview with director Paul Verhoeven, he revealed the truth.
There are two realities. Then people say, what's the real one? And I always said, there is no real one. There is this one and there is that one. There is not this is the true and this is a dream. They're both true. That was my idea, to make a movie about two things that were true, although they were not the same. And there's the two realities that would be as strong as both equivalent.
This is Neil Bowyer for Retro Reels. Thank you for your ongoing support. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Retro Reels.